Hello and welcome along to Season 1, Episode 1, the introduction to our career mode in FIFA 19. The weekly videos rotating with FIFA Ultimate Team. From next week onwards, we're with Crewe Alexandra as promised. We've got our first home league game of the season against Morecambe that will come up in the next episode. But today we're going to take you in an introduction to the club, show you the transfer business we've done over the summer, the formation and tactical shape we're going to go with, which will surprise a couple of people, and also we're going to have a look at what our board expects from us from this save. To give you a bit of background, over the course of the year we want to try and get to the Premier League with Crewe Alexandra. If we could win a cup competition it would be great, but I picked the club because it's a club I really like the way they bring through youth players, the fact that they always work so hard on youth development. They've produced so many players that have ended up playing in the top 2 or 3 leagues in England, and it's been absolutely fantastic. So it's something we want to try and stick to their roots with here, whilst bringing in signings of a higher quality, because as you know in FIFA, if you are a follower of FIFA 19 or FIFA games in the past, you'll know it's so easy to get transfers in, especially from players in higher divisions. It's not a case of whether the player wants to come or not, that's never an issue, it's just whether you can afford it. And it's obviously a bit unrealistic in terms of transfer fees, so you can basically get anyone you want as long as you can afford them. But first and foremost, we need to look at the job we've taken, what the board expects from us. We're on target because we haven't played a game yet, quite simply. I have noticed a few mistakes and things that have annoyed me in career mode already, as well as 1 or 2 I quite like. So we'll go through those as well. It's an introduction and a first look for me, because obviously you don't get to see this in the demo. The one thing I would say compared to FIFA 18 is absolutely nothing's changed in terms of career mode. There seems to be more use of hubs, but they're exactly the same screens, just in different places. So there's nothing really different, and it just seems to be masked behind the Champions League. So let's go and have a look at the objectives overview. Youth development, they've managed to pick that up realistically, to be fair to them. It's absolutely critical here. We want to get 4 youth players into the senior team in the same season they were scouted. Played them in 20 matches as either a starting 11 member or a substitute, so 5 each basically. We're going to work on youth development soon to try and get that ahead of schedule. Sign 3 players younger than 20 years old. That's quite a nice one to have in there, so we'll try and do that. We've got 1 already from my beloved Luton Town, surprisingly, who we'll meet in a minute. And long term, we want to grow 3 youth academy players, at least 10 overall points over 2 seasons. So again, once we start to get those in, we'll try and do that as well. Brand exposure is not much of a worry, it's just about trying to increase season ticket holders. If over 3 years we can get our first promotion, which we're very much hoping we can in the 2nd or 3rd season, then hopefully we'll be able to do that as well. Financial, we just want to keep the salary growth down, which is quite good here because there were some really awful young players and backup players which we'll manage to sell on. And as a result, our growth's only 2% despite bringing in 3 really decent players. We'd also want to focus on high domestic success. We need to avoid finishing in the bottom part of the league, which we'd much like to do. In real life, they're going to struggle this season, but we've managed to bring in 3 good players and some athletes as well. So hopefully we'll be able to get into mid-table comfortably. The last 32 of the FA Cup's going to be really difficult to get to the 4th round, although I don't know how it quite works here without having the non-league teams. So I don't know if the structure's slightly different, so maybe that won't be as hard as it looks. And in 3 seasons, we want to fight for promotion, which, as I've mentioned before, we'd like to get promoted by the end of Season 3. Continental success is obviously not important, because we haven't got any continental competitions to worry about. One thing I would say on career mode, on this central screen, it's now replaced with a few transfers, but it's been talking about the Champions League so much, and it's been really annoying, and even now the transfers from Italy is not particularly relevant information to the club you're at, which I find a bit annoying. They were just showing the simulated draws they've got with their animations, and it looks fantastic, but it's nothing to do with Crewe Alexandra, and won't be for at least 3 or 4 years. So I found that a bit disappointing. We've also had a few errors in the messages we've received in our inbox. It also features the thing I quite enjoyed so far. The last couple of years they've been separated, the player conversations and the emails, and that's done much better this year as well. So we're quite happy with that, to see that there's a clear separation. But unfortunately with our pre-season competition, we had the position where we qualified from the group stages into the semi-final of the tournament, received our prize money and a message that said we're sorry you haven't managed to get out of the group stage, or it's too bad you haven't managed to get out of the group stage, despite the fact we had. And again, when we lost the semi-final, we got a second boost to our budget as a result of it, and again that message said we're sorry you didn't get out of the group stage, so I'm not quite sure what that's about. But other than that, we're nitpicking, it's not been too bad. I would say it's absolutely no different at all to last year, so if you don't worry about the gameplay and you just want to worry about the career stuff, obviously as a football manager man this is going to be a bit more to my heart, but I would say it hasn't changed much from last year if that's what you're worrying about. But let's go and look at the few transfers we have brought in. We've lost a few players and we've gained a few players. All 3 players we've signed are from my beloved Luton Town, and all 3 of them are because the players wanted to join, and one of them was transfer listed. So we've got James Justin, who is a young player we've brought in, rated 62, far better than our current right back, who was actually the weak link of the team. So we had real weaknesses in right back and the wide midfield areas. In midfield we couldn't find wide players, so we've switched to a 3-man midfield and brought in Pelly, Ruddock and Panzu. Rated 64, another good young player and very athletic. A good player for Luton Town, who in real life started the season on absolute fire. And we signed a left back, Dan Potts, who's as good as the one we've got now, but is a decent player. So hopefully we've got 3 good signings in there. I can't find anyone else. We've been scouting all summer but not been able to find the players we're looking for. Ideally we need one more player so we can change back to a 4-3-1-2 or the formation we want, which we'll look at in a moment. In terms of transfer listed players, we've got a few ready to go, transfer and loan, but nothing coming for those ones yet. We have lost a whole host of players so far this season. If we go to our full transfer history for our club, we've lost Oliver Finney for 61,000, Lundstrom for 65,000, and Sass Davis for 38,500, all to the Irish League. We lost Riley on loan to Melbourne Victory in Australia. We lost Harry Pickering, our backup left back, nowhere near as good as Potts or our first choice player, for 180,000, which was a good deal. He has got potential, but we couldn't afford to hold on for him for that. And we've got a little sell-on clause as well. And then obviously we've brought in Ruddock, Justin and Potts, which will hopefully change our ways this season and improve us in the interim while keeping our backup players very much part of the youth academy. So last but not least, let's go and look at our squad. It's the lineup we'll have in next week's video for our first game of the season against Morecambe. So if we go and have a look at it, we're playing what is as close to a flat 4-3-3 as we can find here. We've got Bowery, Nichols and Miller up front, all in the 60s, fairly good players. Ruddock's come straight into the first team in midfield alongside Paul Green, the experienced centre midfielder, and young James Jones, who's now the weak link of the team. Potts and Justin are at fullback, the new signings, with Rains and Ray the captain in the middle. Garrett the goalkeeper's a good young player in real life. So hopefully we've got a fairly solid team that shouldn't have to worry about the threat of relegation. Though I guess we'll get a good idea against Morecambe, who in real life are one of the absolute stalwart favourites to go down, and one of the smallest clubs reputation and budget wise in the league. So we will learn a lot from that one. As you can see, we start to lack a bit of depth in attacking areas on the bench. We're looking to get in one more midfielder really, an attacking midfielder or defensive midfielder, so we can play that 4-4-2 with sort of a narrow diamond or a 4-3-1-2. And in the reserves, we've got players we're trying to sell and a sub-keeper basically. There's not much talent there beyond that. A couple of youth prospects, particularly Wintle's one to look at, but at 21 it may be a bit too late for him. So that's the lineup we've got. We've gone for a very balanced game plan, so there's not too much to worry about in terms of going all out attack or defending for our lives. We've got a mid-table team and we're going to play like a mid-table team, expecting that we could win a game at our best and lose a game at our worst. So as a result, we're going to be fairly cautious to start with, but that's not to stop us attacking at all. But that will be all from this first introduction episode to our career mode with Crewe Alexandra. Let me know down in the comments what you think of our signings, what you think of the formation, which I really don't like playing. I'm very much a 4-4-2 man in the lower leagues, as any of you who follow my Football Manager series will know. But unfortunately I haven't got the players to play wide men in this one. They're in the mid-50s and we just can't compete at that level. If you did enjoy this video, please put a thumbs up on it. Subscribe to the channel for regular Football Manager content, as my channel name gives away, as well as a new video from FIFA19 every Friday, rotating between FIFA Ultimate Team and this career mode series with Crewe Alexandra, with the ultimate goal of making the Premier League. Just a quick reminder, we've got our introduction video to FIFA Ultimate Team as well today, so if you keep an eye out in the next hour or two, that'll be coming out as well. But a massive thanks for watching this one, and we'll see you next time.